Brian Wilson, Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. AM 630. WMAL.
7:37 on the Morning Majority. Neiman, Ham, Wilson all here. KT McFarland is on the line with Fox News national security analyst. So, KT, this week, Joe Biden, the vice president, said that the Taliban, not our enemy per se. Just wanted to ask you whether or not you just chalk that up to Biden saying something a little crazy, or is there more to that in that maybe it's a way of saying, well, we don't really have to go after the Taliban all that much in Afghanistan. It's kind of a way to even
they've got to say, right, this is an excuse for us to leave.
Yeah.
Our frenemies, the Taliban.
Yeah, right.
It's odd because what it does is it's sort of a flip from what they've talked about in the last year. Part of the Obama surge was to go after the Taliban. So I don't know if this is just, like you say, Biden saying something kind of nutty, or whether this is an indication that they're looking for a way out. I think it's the latter, because the word sort of inside the military and the group that I've been talking to says that they think the president is going to announce something at a NATO meeting in the spring of a more rapid de-escalation and a more rapid withdrawal.
That's interesting.
Well, listen, we've been working with the Taliban and trying, we've been fighting them, obviously, and killing them, but also working with some people who are in the Taliban to try and convince them not to do what they're doing.
Yeah.
So, that's been going on for quite some time.
Yeah, there's nothing new about the attempt to get to repatriate as one policy of taking some of the Taliban fighters, getting them to leave the Taliban and to lay down their arms, turn in their arms, get money for them, and then to no longer join the battle. The idea all along has always been to try to, can you peel off some of the not-so-bad Taliban from some of the really bad Taliban? Or can you negotiate with the not-so-bad Taliban? I think that the whole thing is going to end up very badly for us, I'm sorry to say.
I'm looking at this interview that 60 Minutes did with Leon Panetta. It's going to be run in its entirety, I guess, next week. But just listen to this sort of, you have that queued up on the thingy there? You listen to this one key bite that just has got everybody talking.
If they proceed and we get intelligence that they're proceeding with developing a nuclear weapon, then we will take whatever steps are necessary to stop it.
That's Panetta talking about Iran. If they proceed with developing a nuclear weapon, then we will take whatever steps necessary to stop it. Were you surprised to see that forceful statement?
Yes, I was very surprised to see that, because what that said, it's a much more hawkish statement than the administration has been saying for about the last year. For the last year, they've been walking back from the more militant, everything is on the table, we'll do anything to stop, and particularly in light of what happened just 10 days ago when the missing drone, where the president was given a military option to destroy the drone on the ground, and he refused to take it for fear that it would upset the Iranians. If he wasn't even willing to, to take out that one little drone from some kind of an aerial attack, wow, it's hard to think that he would go along with some kind of military action against Iran. But the other thing I thought was amazing was the timing of it. He said within the year. What does that do? That makes it an election issue. That makes it it's a signal to Israel. Something's going to happen within the year. Anybody who wants to take action, the sooner you take it, the better. So I think it really boxes them in. And what I think you're going to see in the next couple of days is other people in the administration coming out and kind of walking back from that.
Really? Yeah, so why two different messages? Is sort of average Obama administration lack of communication and coordination, or is Panetta trying to say, hey, we're going to
force the issue?
Right.
I think it's probably the former. And in part, it's driven by the fact that this administration's foreign policy has been vacillating. It sort of jumps from one thing to another. And the Saudi leaders have complained about it publicly. A number of other countries and leaders have complained about, the frenemy thing. Are they with us? Are they against us? Do they want to pull out of Afghanistan? Do they want to surge in Afghanistan? They want to claim Iraq as a great victory. They get out. Iraq looks like it could have some real troubles ahead. I think it's really interesting because this is so much like it was in the Carter administration, where everyone assumed that the issues were all going to be economic, that it was all about unemployment and high inflation and a stagnant economy, and yet when it came time for the election, it was all about Jimmy Carter, the failed leader, the man who had hostages taken in Iran and was unable to free them. So I think we're getting to one of those eras where it's going to be a lot about Obama's leadership. And here are the following things that are going to bubble up. Afghanistan, we're going to try to get out of there, and we're going to end up shooting our way out, because even if Joe Biden thinks that the Taliban are our pals, they're not. And certainly Pakistan is not. And so our whole supply route in, our evacuation out, is much compromised by bad relations with the Pakistanis and them shutting that down. Iran, Panetta's just said it. It's going to come up within the year. Do you take military action? Do you bomb Iran or let Iran get the bomb? Iraq, we've just seen in the last 48 hours that the Shiite leaders are trying to arrest the Sunni leaders. What's Iran's position there? And now we have the Korean Peninsula, which could, which worries me just because everybody's going to miscalculate.
I don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves on this, but I do wonder if, because obviously when we went into Iraq, there was a lot of build up to it. There was a lot of discussion. There was debate. There was bills that passed in Congress. I mean, Americans knew exactly what was going to happen in Iraq,
and we're in favor of it.
Right? Could you even do that with Iran? Would you even want to do that, or because would that telegraph what was coming to Iran?
You couldn't have. I think it's almost impossible to have a military ground operation in Iran. It would have to be bombers and missiles attacking the Iranian nuclear sites. And the problem with it is, well, there are a lot of problems. I mean, bombing Iran has so many problems because it launches a larger regional war against Israel, against U.S. interests throughout the world as Iran retaliates. And it also will result in a lot of civilian deaths because the Iranian nuclear sites are deliberately sited near population centers.
What?
But on the other hand, not bombing Iran, letting Iran get the bomb, and as Panetta says, within a year, means that everybody in that region is going to nuke up.
Well, when you see Panetta say, as he did later in this interview, that it's a red line for us, a red line for the Israelis, and if we have to do it, we will deal with it. That's a ratcheting up of the conversation, and nobody should be surprised if indeed something happens.
Well, absolutely. What he's doing is he's putting everybody on
alert
notice that, military action could follow at any time. Now, maybe it's a big bluff, but
I don't think so.
And maybe there's one version of events and policies in the Pentagon and another one at the State Department and the White House.
And be under no illusions here that if that happens, if we have to go in and do that, the repercussions will be felt here. I mean, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to mine off the Strait of Hormuz.
Correct.
They're already out there right now doing war games there, so
Correct.
We're going to feel the pain when that happens.
Yeah, and even though the Navy guys will tell you, well, they mine the Strait of Hormuz, we can clean it up with minesweepers. That's where the 7th Fleet is. The 5th Fleet. The problem is that oil guys will tell you, well, yeah, but then the oil insurance rates have to go up so significantly for any oil tankers going out and in and out of the region that the price of oil goes way up anyway, the final price, and then the price at the tank, when you fill up, goes way up.
Yeah.
And there goes any economic recovery.
Well, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Another reason why we need the Keystone Pipeline.
Thanks,
Well,
Katie.
if we were smart, we would do the Keystone Pipeline. We would do oil shale. We would do, drill, baby, drill. We would do all of the above. Natural gas, oil, everything. And what would that do? Revive the American economy really quickly, not only with low energy prices, but with jobs. And it would put countries like Russia and Iran in real trouble as the price of oil would go down.
That'd be a nice Christmas present. Thank you
That would
very
be the
much,
best,
Katie.
and when it's on the table, we can do it.
Thanks very much, Katie.